What's
What's
up?
up?
What's up?
What's up? Those sports chicks back in live in the house. You got Sadell Nicole, the
And
lioness,
Carlita.
lioness wild hair.
And Carlita Nicole, the quirky queen herself, Chi-Town, born and bred, Texas fed. What's up, y'all?
Carlita, I'm gonna be honest right now. I do not know. My signal is already acting flaky, so
Really?
be
Okay.
ready to go impromptu at any moment. I don't know why this happens. They just upgraded the freaking fiber network and it's much worse. Much worse. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, we're gonna work it out and get through it. So, what I have for us tonight, y'all see, my star is covered up. Can you? It's covered up. It's covered up. So, here's the deal tonight, y'all. I got flowers again, right? Yeah, I got flowers again from D. Jerry Jones in the form of a 40-point game, right? So basically 40 points worth of flowers. But did we win? No. Did we lose? No, we tied. And so basically that is the equivalent of I received flowers, but they were from the gas station. So that's why everything is covered, because the gas station flowers basically came dead already. So no, we're not celebrating gas station flowers, Jerry Jones. So look, the Cowboys defense, they let Jordan Love and the Packers score literally on every possession from the second half and overtime. And Jerry loves to sell this illusion that Dallas is this whole complete team, right? But the reality of it is, if Dak in our offense scores 40 points, and they do that without our number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb, we should win the game. Period. Period. We should win the game. But instead, nope, we didn't lose. We tied. And I got gas station flowers. So because of that, we're just gonna talk about the end of this game. I'm gonna or the game as a whole, but I'll recap. So here's the deal, and Sadell, you gotta, once I recap this game, you just gotta go in. You gotta dive in head first, because
Okay.
the tie is really getting me, right? So here's the deal. First off, early in the game, the Packers got us, right? The Packers came out like we thought the Packers were going to. They were up quickly, 13-0. Boom. Okay. But I'm thinking it's not a big deal. We're going to wait and see what happens. So after they go up 13, the Cowboys had a block. They blocked on the extra point, and they got the 2-point return. So the 2-point return is what got us our first points. But then, and that, mind you, that was the first defensive 2 points that the Cowboys have ever had in their history. But then there was a forced fumble, and that resulted in an immediate score for us. We were up in the half. And I know the Packers were looking dumbfounded, like, how did that happen, right? So then we get to the second half of the game. And the last minute of the game is where things got a little crazy. So Dallas, here we go. Dallas, Dak Prescott connects with George Pickens. Shout out to George Pickens and his touchdowns on the final minute. And we were up 37-34. That did not phase Green Bay one bit, because Love got them down the field close enough for their kicker McManus to kick a 53-yard field goal. They tied the game, end of regulation. Now we're in overtime. Who gets the ball first? We do. We get the ball first. We drive the ball all the way down the field to the 5-yard line. And what happens? My quarterback goes for the run. He's going to run it in for the touchdown and for the win. And who stops him? Who stops our quarterback?
The person we knew that was going to do that. I mean, it was just destiny for that to happen.
Is he the op now? Is Micah the op? He might be the op. So anyhow, Micah, his only sack of the game, but can we really count it as a sack because it was a sack with like no yards? Like come on now, it's like it's a tie sack. It's a tie. It's not really a whole sack. So anyhow, after we kick, they kick, the game ends in a tie, and our poor boy George Pickens is like, what happened? Why is the game over? George Pickens is looking like, what's going on with this tie? What don't we keep playing? Doesn't
Right.
somebody have to win? Doesn't somebody have to lose? And no, he didn't even know that the game could end. It's only been like 18 games that have ended in ties in the last 10 years, and there's never been a 40-40 game. Sadell, a tie?
I mean, at the end of the day, in regular season, that's the new rule they came up with, and that's just kind of what it is. I think it was kind of. I think the one thing with this game is both teams have really good kickers, and I don't know if it was just a really bad defensive game. I think for me, I expected much more out of Green Bay defense. I feel like initially they were getting a lot of pressure, and then they kind of started doubling Micah and moving stuff around and going away from him, and that kind of slowed things down. But for a while he was able to at least rush, but then Dak just started getting rid of the ball like super quick,
and
made it much less effective, and then we got some good runs, and so it was kind of like their defense wasn't near as effective as I thought it would be, because in no way would I have expected us to score 40 points against them, right? And so I just to be able to score that amount of points, but we both quarterbacks threw for over 300 yards, multiple touchdowns. They both look like Super Pro Bowl QBs in that game, and he looked really good. And then, but check this out. I think, on that last play, I think Michael was kind of keying on that. You know what I'm saying? He was like, ain't no way.
I know. I know it.
No. And it was just kind of a weird, seeing him over there on the other side, whatever. And I know it was very emotional for him, because you could see him on the sideline whenever they were on offense, and it wasn't like he was cheering and happy when they were moving the ball. You know what I'm saying? He really was just kind of melancholy, or like Megamon says, melancholy. But he didn't really show a whole lot of emotion as far as like excited. It was almost a sadness, it seemed, when he was on the sideline. But overall, it was just a great game. I mean, I was talking to people who were actually going to the game, and they were like, it's going to be a blowout. I'm just going because I have tickets. Like it was going to be bad. And I mean, we were expected to lose that game. And, a tie is not a win. It's not a loss, So, yeah, definitely much better game than I expected. Like it was all the way until the very end, a good game.
I thought it was a great game offensively. But where was the defense? Never present on either side. It just
not
wasn't
on either side. And I mean, we know we have a problem on defense. Like if we don't know, then we have a problem, period. But we've had a problem in our secondary. I was really glad that he was able to get Diggs was able to get that pick, but we know he can do that. But can he cover anybody, and can he tackle? Just like that one tackle they credited, he really went in and just laid down. You know what I'm saying? He didn't tackle him. He didn't wrap up. He just kind of bumped into him and he fell. You know what I'm saying? Granted, he still gets credit for a tackle, but it wasn't a tackle. That's just not his thing. If he could cover and not tackle, great, but he doesn't cover well. He just happens to be somewhat of a ball hawk, which puts him at a disadvantage a lot of times, because that he's going to bite on everything, and then they end up if they do any kind of double route, any kind of double move, he's lost because he's biting on the first one. And so it just, it kind of puts us at a disadvantage. We have some problems, all around.
Lots of problems. We do. So, but here's the deal, because in this game of it was raining touchdowns, right? Offensively, like you said, on the ground and in the air, both teams combined for over 900 yards, which is crazy, right? It's ridiculous. But then, so you got to look at this. Shout out again to George Pickens. He had 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns in this game. But so when he was with the Steelers last season, he had 3 touchdowns for 14 games that he played in. 3 touchdowns in 14 games. He's already surpassed that, exceeded it with this star on his helmet. So he's already with 4 daggone touchdowns. That's great. And this is in lieu of CeeDee Lamb being injured. And so imagine that our number 2 receiver can come in and pick up the way that George Pickens did, kind of sort of like Cooper Rush did when we had him and Dak went out. He picked up where Dak left off. Yes, he's not the number 1, but he still did what he was supposed to do. But to me, that makes our rushing situation look a little jacked up. I think total Williams only had like 84 rushing yards, or 85 rushing yards. Meanwhile, Romeo Doubs had a field day on us with 3 touchdowns. So you could see receiving on both ends, both receivers were able to score touchdowns and points, but the run game, they were still able to slow us down. So this is the question: were they able to slow us down, or do we just not have a run game at all? And is that the reason why? Well, it's not the reason why. Jaden Blue now is active, and Jaden Blue will be making his debut against the Jets. But what do you think about that? Did the Packers stop our run, slow us down, or does it just not exist?
I wouldn't say it doesn't exist. I mean, I think they slowed us down some, but I just had, higher expectations. Like just from the conversation going into this game about, even the conversation going back to the initial trade, like, okay, now they're a Super Bowl caliber team because they're tough on offense and defense. And that's not necessarily the case just based upon that game. Now, maybe they just had an off game, but ain't no way you give up 40 points in your Super Bowl caliber team. So I don't know. And I mean, that goes on both sides, right? Because we gave up 40 points as well. Like you said, your homeboy just baiting us in, talking about we ready. We not ready. You can't give up that much. And then,
to me, that's not even a playoff caliber team, because if you think about the playoffs, those often teams, when they make it to the playoffs, they made it because of their defense. Like, you can score. We are the prime example of defense wins games because we can score points. We don't have an issue scoring points, but we can't keep the other team from scoring. Therefore, we're not 1-3, but we're 1-2-1. And currently in the 3rd place in the NFC East. And that there is ghetto. And we have got to do better in that area, because I don't think you can ignore how bad our defense has been playing consistently. And then this is my gripe, Sadell, because it's not just that our defense is scoring terribly, it's who our defensive coach is. The defensive coordinator was the head coach of the Chicago Bears last year and was fired, Matt Eberflus. Now, you see, when we played Chicago, could we defend? No. When we played the Packers, could we defend? No. We could never beat the Packers when we had their former coach, Mike McCarthy. And I'm just really just like, what are we doing with these coaches that we're
I
hiring?
don't think we have all the right personnel, though. I mean, I
We
don't know that
don't.
it's all the coaching. It's part of it is we're not drafting or getting we don't have the right personnel in place. Like we don't, and I mean, not harping on it, but we shipped off our best defensive player. And so that also is a gap that we have, so I don't, I just think we don't have the right people in place. I don't think I don't think they value the secondary for one. And I think we talked about that last week. And they haven't in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't put a lot of value in anybody in the backfield, and we've had a decent front seven. So
Right.
we don't have that right now. And so it shows all over the field, everything.
I think, because Trayvon Diggs had that one season, like he had that one season, then he got injured, and he has just, where has he gone? I read an article that referred to Trayvon Diggs as a one season wonder, and that kind of stings a little bit when you're talking about, this corner that we have that's locked people up and consistently gets interceptions. But the thing about that is that, like, his separation, I talked about it last week or the week before. He has like 3 yards of separation consistently. How do you do that and expect for them not to run all up and down the field on us?
He's never been a lockdown. What he's been is a ball hawk. And
Well,
when they
well,
start
you're
watching
right.
film on him and understanding, like, he doesn't cover well. He
Yeah,
doesn't. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
clear.
If you run a deep route on him, he's fast enough that he can get to the ball. But if you do anything out of the ordinary, he doesn't cover well. He can't cover you if you actually running other than a go. If you're not running the go route, then he not covering it. He just doesn't cover well. That's why there's 3 yards of separation, because he doesn't trust himself enough to cover. So he ain't ever been a lockdown. He's just been a ball hawk that's able to go and get the ball when he's in the area. But anybody who runs routes well loses him. And that's what was exposed after
Yeah,
that first season,
yeah.
because you can go back and watch film and say, oh, okay, that's what happened. And that's why he's had that one season wonder.
So to your point, I totally understand what you're saying. I think from a fan perspective that maybe during that one season that maybe it could have been misconstrued as a lockdown situation because he was getting so many interceptions. But that, like, to what you're saying, that's not the point. He wasn't that. It could have looked like that because, oh, he's getting these interceptions, but it seemed like that's what he looks for, not necessarily to cover, but to
Yeah,
try to get an interception.
exactly.
That's not beneficial to us right now. And
I mean,
again,
it's beneficial in ways, but if he doesn't add anything else to it, that's the issue that we have. I mean, it's beneficial if he can get picks, right?
has
But
he gotten picks this season?
he's
Did I
got
miss
one,
that?
you know, because initially, think about it, when he at that first season, everybody was comparing him to Dion, and I'm like, he's not Dion, right?
Yeah,
Dion
no, I
actually
never
can
said that.
cover the
I never said
entire field. You know what I'm saying?
he
Dion,
actually locks down.
I mean, literally locked down the whole field. Dion is
And
on
lock down
one
Karuchi
sideline
Tran.
and they throwing it to the other sideline, and he's still over on the other sideline getting a pick. I mean, completely different.
Yeah,
Completely different.
that's different.
He Dion can bait them into throwing the ball because he's 10 yards away, thinking that it's open, and then still go cover it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
different. It's
very
not that
much
he gets
so.
lost. Dion don't, he wasn't, probably the best tackle person, but he didn't really have to be. But cover,
Right,
he could cover like a blanket.
right.
Everybody.
Well, right now we don't have that.
We do not.
And we need that. So to your point, I get the personnel situation defensively, but at the same time, like what I have said consistently, all roads lead back to the Jerry Jones. All roads do. Because Jerry Jones even said in that documentary, I decide who we draft. That is my decision, not the coaches. So that was a Jerry Jones thing. That is what that is. Okay. So that game, here's another question, because I'm curious to see. Remember when the rules for overtime was like first team to score wins, and then they changed those rules because people felt like it wasn't fair. Both teams didn't get an opportunity to touch the ball.
This
Now
is the
both teams
craziest
get.
thing to me, to be honest, because who cares about fair? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's sudden death, and I don't, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, because so that's the thing. It's not fair, and I understand the sudden death thing, but that's based off of a flip of a coin. Whoever gets the ball first, that's the person who has the advantage in the game. If the situation is still like that. Currently, they have it to where both teams get to touch the ball, both teams get the possession, but there's still only one quarter. And if that one quarter ends and nobody, and it's still in a tie, then that's just it. I am leaning towards we should have went into double overtime or a kickoff. Do a kickoff. And whoever could kick the furthest kick after the first overtime tie is the winner.
I would be
You gotta
cool with
come up
them
with something.
doing. I would be cool with them just doing a sudden death after that. Flip a coin, and the first person that scores, that's it.
After the first overtime or after regulation?
After the first overtime, I would be cool
Okay.
with them doing it after regulation. But since that rule has changed, after regulation, we do that 10 minutes. Boom. If it's still in the tie, then it's sudden death. Flip a coin. Whoever gets the ball, you got to stop them. If you don't stop them, they score. The problem is, I understand why they don't want to do that in regular season, because those games could go forever, and they're going to have to do that in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So it is
Yes.
what it is.
Now, in the NFC East, do you think that this tie will hurt or harm us? Or do you think it'll benefit us?
Um, I don't know that it'll necessarily hurt or harm us. I think either way it's going to be pretty rough for us. um, I at one point thought that at least we had one team in there that we could beat, but now they're starting to look a little better as well. So,
Wait, who?
um,
Who's starting to look better?
the Giants,
No, they not.
they will be. I'm just saying. Now, I feel like at this point, like, of course, the Eagles, they're still undefeated. I feel like anybody else we can beat. I do feel like anybody else we can beat. I do feel like it's going to be a challenge.
Okay. Okay. So that leads me to the next part of Dope Sports Chicks tonight. This next segment, we're going to go ahead and just recap the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. And I'm going to just talk about a couple of points, and we're going to address some of my concerns for the things that I've seen. So on the NFC side, yes, the Philadelphia Eagles are the sole team that has remained undefeated. I don't know how. I don't necessarily feel like their offense is sustainable to continue winning. New Orleans has not won one game. We expected that. We anticipated that. The NFC West teams have the best records with the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams. They're all 3-1. But then you move on to the AFC side. And let me tell you, as far as the AFC is concerned, all roads will lead right back to the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. That's what's going to happen definitively. You can bet the bottom dollar. Do you bet the bottom dollar? Or do you bet? Anyhow, I bet me and I'm gonna win. Anyway, The Jets and the Titans still have yet to win a game on the AFC side. Now, in the AFC South, still continues to be one of, if not the most boring division in the NFL with, with the Colts, the Jags, the Texans, and the Titans. Because what are those teams doing? The Colts are the only team in that division that's worth watching and not being bored, because they actually look really, really good. So to start off, Sadell, can we please address the elephant in the room, which is the Philadelphia Eagles offense? And I'm saying that because has Saquon Barkley had 100 yards this season, and we're how many weeks in? No. How? I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that works. Their offense, like, they're not blowing people out. They are barely winning games, and their offense, like, who I can't remember who, somebody said, I don't know if it was Drew Brees, it was another former quarterback, but they were like, their offense is extremely boring, and it is. It is. And is their offense sustainable to continue winning? Because it just does not seem like they should have, like, we could have beat them. Kansas, what's the deal?
I mean, even though it's boring, I think the difference is they just find ways to win. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I think there's a lot of questions about them overall. I mean, they have some injuries.
Yes.
I don't know. Their defense even is just a little blandish, to be honest. I mean,
Very vanilla.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of pressure. There's a lot of things that are not probably going the way they want, but they have some playmakers. Like Mitchell is a playmaker, and they've had some great people who've done things on defense, and I think that kind of helps feed into the offense. You know what I'm saying? But they rank high in several defensive categories. I think having some of those young playmakers kind of help them. They have really good red zone defense. I think that kind of helps play into and balance out whatever is going on with the offense.
They got a tush push.
Yeah.
They got a tush push.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, they're still undefeated. And I mean, even going back to the Giants, my thing is the Chargers were looking really good until last week, right? And so that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's only one game, but it is a game that kind of raised my eyebrows because right now, I mean, we're just right above them. You know what I'm saying?
We are.
So
barely. Half of a game.
Barely. And so that's my thing. I'm like, the Chargers, it's not like they're a trash team. They're a good, solid team. And so for the midgets to go out and beat them, I think, that's something that kind of raises an eyebrow, but yeah.
So, okay. So you brought up the Giants, and I was waiting for this because so that leads me into the part that we're going to talk about injuries impacting teams this season, where Malik Neighbors now is out for the season. He was off to a huge start. He was leading in catches and yards, and now this will significantly affect the Giants receiving corps. So Malik Neighbors being out, a torn ACL, that's the whole season.
It is.
So then we saw what Malik Neighbors could do. Running up and down the field, catching passes, scoring touchdowns. Because he is injured, and like, do you still feel like the Giants could potentially be better than the Dallas Cowboys? Do you think that the Giants will continue to get better? Because also remember, they benched Russell Wilson.
What I'm saying is, I mean, of course, having Malik out is going to cause some issues, and hopefully, he heals well, whatever comes back next season, of course. But yeah, I mean, the other thing is, I mean, he's their target, and he was their target. So I think, and initially, is definitely going to be a decline. Like they're going to struggle, I think, quite a bit, but I don't know what that's going to look like for us. And I mean, and honestly, I feel like the way we're playing right now, if we can just, God dang it, just somehow stop somebody from scoring, then we might be okay. I think the biggest thing with that injury with Malik Neighbors is just trying to get the mix right, finding somebody who he can rely on. It's typically you gonna like we said. I mean, it's the same thing that we've had. You put somebody else on the field, they step up, and you don't lose anything. And of course, I'm sure that's what they're hoping that happens. But even with that, sometimes you have issues with chemistry and timing and even route running. You know what I'm saying? Things like that kind of has to work in and come into play between a QB and a receiver.
Right. So okay, so this next injury, we talked about Joe Burrow and his injury at the beginning of the season, and we know he's out for the rest of the season. So with Cincinnati looks terrible without Joe Burrow at quarterback, but we know Cincinnati does not play well without Joe Burrow. Yes, Jake Browning had, I think, one good game, and we see he's targeting Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and stuff, but it's not enough.
It's not.
They're not able to win games, and I really think that Cincinnati is one of those teams that is built their offense around a quarterback, and now that quarterback is injured, that is definitely affecting. I'm gonna post this, but Ellis, I have to say I disagree. We had the conversation last season about Joe, about injuries. You're saying Joe Burrow's Mr. Glass. I don't think he's Mr. Glass. And I say that because to me there's a difference in being injury prone and being injured. And this is a situation where every single time Joe Burrow has gotten injured, it's because a defense, something has happened to him on the field. And it's because his O-line is not protecting him. He's not very protected, which it makes me nervous for Jake Browning as well. So he is always injured. He is, but that is because Cincinnati does not invest in protecting him.
But to his point, I mean, there's a lot of QBs that get hit a lot. I mean, even Russ before he left Seattle, that was one of the reasons, because he was getting knocked down. This dude has had like 8, 9 injuries, ACL, wrist, calf, turf toe.
All of the ACL, MCL, all of the ACLs were at the same time.
He is injury prone, and
whether
it's because it's not.
It's not. You can't be injury prone if somebody is injuring you. If I go out, if I go out and I trip and break my ankle, I'm injury prone, because why did I do that? No. But if you come and trip me and I break my ankle, I'm not injury prone. You are an ankle breaker because you tripped me.
No. Okay. So anywho.
It's not bad luck, Ellis. It's just that he's
no, I'm just saying, like, there are other QBs in the league who get beat up and get knocked down, and they're not breaking and spraining and tearing and turf toeing everything.
Lucky him.
No, so I'm saying, so yeah, that is injury prone, and that is Mr. Glassage, because
we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, just like Mr. Glass didn't, just break. Sometimes he may have fallen down accidentally, but sometimes somebody might have bumped into him and he broke something. He still broke.
I let me tell you, I have had a lot of car accidents. Guess what? I've been hit so many times. I am an excellent driver. One accident has been my fault, and it was clearly my fault. Outside of the one, whenever my car got totaled, whenever I ended up in the hospital injured, somebody else did that. Somebody else hit me. That doesn't make me a bad driver because somebody's rear-ended me or
That's
somebody's
that's
sideswiping me.
different though. That's a different context. That's different. We're talking about in the sports world, on the court, on the field. If you constantly getting hurt, you're considered injury prone. That's it. But you can go to the next topic.
That's
Again, like you said, we can agree to disagree. But 8 is a lot in probably the last. But it makes you accident prone. 8 is a lot when you think about it's only been what, maybe 5 years? I mean, there's been about 8 in probably the past 5 years. That's a lot.
But you're adding like 5 of those were in one time.
Mm, mm. Again, you're proving my point.
Okay, so the next one is
Okay.
Tyreek Hill. So we saw the gruesome Tyreek Hill injury. Like, I accidentally saw it on purpose. I clicked the video, but I didn't think they were gonna re-show the daggone. Why did I do that? Because it keeps replaying in my head. But we saw that he dislocated his knee, but that he tore all of the CLs when he did that too. So basically he's going to be out for the season too. And you know just as well as I know that how Miami's offense has been going. We talked about it last week, the week before.
Yeah.
Miami is one of those teams that needs to let everybody go, start over. And I'm talking about from the coach all the way down. Tyreek Hill clearly, significantly is their biggest and best receiver. How I said biggest, but I mean biggest in like personality and big in his talent. But now that he's out for the season, they have to lean on Jalen Waddle. I know they're probably going to lean on Devon Achane, checking down to him a lot more instead of just having him play running back all the time. So offensively now, without Tyreek Hill, like what do you think is going to happen in Miami?
I mean, Tua should have retired anyway.
In real life,
Now's a good time. Now's a good time. They don't look good.
They
It's
don't.
yeah. I think probably my biggest thing is just from Tyreek in general, because I mean, good grief. Like, first of all, the rehab on that is gonna be crazy. I can't even imagine what the rehab is gonna be like to get him back to the point that he can play at the same level that he played with. So you got to think about, to me, how that's gonna affect him playing in the future and how it's gonna impact, if he does want to trade, if he does want to go. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna affect his money for a long
Yeah.
time. It could affect him making it to the Hall of Fame because he was on a Hall of Fame path. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so I just think about all of that. Like, he just has got this huge contract. What's going to happen with that? Is he going to be restructured? Are they going to release? I mean, this injury, because it's affected so many things, like the rehab he's going to have to face. And I'm not saying he's not going to do it, because I know he
Oh yeah,
is.
he's
But
gonna do it.
you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be pretty rough. And then, the mental aspect of it is gonna be even more rough, because you get back and then you're gonna be nervous about cutting and doing things that you would normally do. And I think that's probably my bigger concern with that. The team right now, man, like you said, let's just start over. Find
A
something else.
whole overhaul.
But as
Yeah.
far as him as a person, yeah, I don't know. I don't I just feel more concerned with that because that's literally affecting all of his future, you know?
It is. And I hope all of these guys make a speedy recovery because I could imagine what that does to your mental health,
Yeah,
especially for
for
Joe
sure.
Burrow. But Tyreek Hill, to see his leg, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine what that could do to your mental, to see that be replayed over and over and over, and knowing that you're going to miss the season, knowing that your team is crappy, and now you have all of these different things because there was rumors that Tyreek Hill was wanting a trade. So again, like what you're saying, it's really going to affect his career going forward because that's a major injury.
Yeah.
Some of the other injuries, the 49ers had Brock Purdy, who had turf toe as well. And Mac Jones has stepped in, but you know, the 49ers offense is always a packing play with the quarterback. So all they got to do is pick a quarterback and put them in the quarterback position.
Right.
Their offense continues to go. Now, George Kittle has a hamstring issue. He's on IR right now. But I think the 49ers always have enough offense to where they can spread the ball. And I don't necessarily think that the George Kittle being injured is going to affect. I can't remember how many games he's already been out, but you have to be out for at least 4 games to be on IR. So we're going to see whenever he comes back if that's going to do anything to increase their offense. Um, the other injuries that we have are, of course, like what you were saying earlier, the Eagles. Uh, Lane Johnson is out with the shoulder. Jalen Carter, the spitter, he's
Yes.
out with the shoulder. He will forever be the spitter to
The
me for the
spitter.
rest of his life. Um, and so yeah, and then they have Tyler Steen out too. So there's been a lot of injuries, and even though the Eagles have had all of these injuries, they still are finding ways to win. So um that's with the injuries. As far as something else with the recap, I did want to mention somebody standing out, but before I do that, did you get a chance to look over? I want to make this my quirky queen question of the day with these. I basically have categories for players that I want to talk about today. My first category is the Ghosted Award. And that's for the most disappointing player. Okay. The most disappointing right now, number one on my list is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has been very disappointing, not reaching 100 yards yet this season. He's running, but he's not doing anything near what he was doing last season. I was actually looking like, what is going on? I'm very disappointed in Saquon Barkley because I used my whole first round draft pick on him in fantasy just for him to barely make his projections every week. Like, forget the projections. You're supposed to be tripling that on a weekly basis. Saquon, what is the deal? Sadell, do you have a ghosted player this season?
It's not even necessarily a ghosted player. I think, and it's kind of hard because it's not even that he's actually done bad. He hasn't really done bad, but I was, I guess, kind of hoping Discount Double Check season would be more magical. Like
Are you for real?
I am. I am.
Girl, wait, pause, because why? What would make you think that of all of the quarterbacks?
I think I don't know. I mean, I just think because I have so much respect for him. Even, you know, I just had a lot of respect for him as a player and as one of the greats. And so I really he's old. He doesn't move well. He doesn't do the same, but
Very much so.
somebody left somebody left the Patriots and went to another team and did well. And maybe Aaron will end up that way. I mean, and they're winning, right? They're winning. It just doesn't. It don't look good. It
It
don't
doesn't
look
look
right.
like
It's not
winning.
right.
I'm surprised they won in what were they? Dublin. I'm
Right.
I'm surprised because they don't win overseas games.
Yeah. And I
It's
mean, I
really
do
so.
think that he gives them a different leadership,
Mhm.
you know, air or whatever, but I just don't know. I just don't know. It's just I was just I don't know. I was just wanting him for whatever reason cuz like I said, I feel like I think he's one of the greats and it's about time for him to, move on out the door at some point and
It's a
I
few
like
of
him. I
those.
think he's added a lot to the game and yeah. So
I
that would
think
probably be my person for that.
it's a few of those. Most definitely a few of the but
I
I
would
just
also say Trevor Lawrence just in general because he kind of just peaked and I don't know what's going on with
we
that. But
don't
anyway, next.
yeah. I feel you on that. So here's the surprising production. I have a plot twist player who this player is like we were not expecting for him to perform like this. We weren't expecting for him to have this much production. Plot twist, boom, here I am in our face. I have for that one, I'm going to give it to George Pickens. I am because I was not expecting that type of production out of George Pickens as soon as CD Lamb went out the game. I was not expecting that. So shout out to George Pickens again.
I definitely agree. George Pickens, I appreciate the energy and everything that he brought to the game. I think he is great. I do think definitely one of the surprises. For me, the other one is Quinyon Mitchell. Like, he's a rookie, and
Ooh,
that dude is, I mean, he earned his
ooh.
first NFC Defensive Player of the Week award. And he's been targeted and he's not allowing a lot of catches. Like for him to come in his first year and be ranked amongst the top defenders with 9 or more targets and allowed the lowest passer rating, like that's pretty impressive.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I can dig that one for the plot twist award. Okay. So this week I have the Steady Eddie. My Steady Eddie award. I'm gonna say that's the most consistent from
Yeah.
last season to this season. Those are the players who yeah, we saw them do what they did last season and they said, okay, well, I'm gonna do it again.
Right.
So with that one, let me tell you who I have for real, for real. Puka Nakua. Like Puka has just through the first 4 weeks, he's had so many receptions. He's had double digit receptions this whole time. Um, he's getting his yards. He's like last season he had a bunch of 100-yard games, and this season is going to be the same. And I think we need to be looking out for Puka Nakua and him on somebody's record in somebody's record book at the end of the season.
Okay, so for me, when I'm thinking about the most consistent players season to season, I mean, I look at Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like those dudes, and even though, everybody's talking about Lamar, whatever, but I mean, he's consistent. Like he's
Is
dependable.
he?
He's definitely, he's doing the stuff that he's supposed to do. And the same thing with Josh Allen. Um, and to be honest, the same thing with Jalen. He finds a way to win. He's very reliable from game to game. It's not like they don't really have bad games. You know what I'm saying? They're consistent most of the time in delivering what they need to deliver, whether they win or lose.
I could see Josh Allen out of all of the ones that you said, Josh Allen. Yeah. I don't know about Jalen Hurts or definitely I don't know if I agree with the Lamar thing. And that's just because like I'm just not sure if Lamar Jackson has been consistent from last season to this season, and like if he's one of those people that you could put the ball in his hands and they win the game. The Ravens
But
have
I'm not talking about winning. I'm saying most
consistency,
consistent,
but
because he's consistently in the MVP conversation. I mean, even starting the season from
I think
last
he's
season to
getting
this
himself
season. You know what
out
I'm
of
saying?
it right
If we're
now.
saying consistent. Now, if we're talking about winning games, that's a different story. If we're
Yeah.
talking about I'm going to get him to the Super Bowl potential, that's a different story. Then I'm going to go Pat Mahomes, right? But I'm just saying, just consistently showing up and doing what he does.
Okay.
Even
Okay.
from a fantasy perspective, if you look at him on fantasy, that's probably the one person that I've ever looked at that has the most consistency in fantasy
No,
points.
no, not
Yes,
Lamar
I literally
Jackson.
just looked that up.
No, because well, that must be in another point rating ranking system or something.
It's on the ESPN fantasy football ratings, and the ESPN fantasy football consistency ratings. He like has led the quarterbacks in terms of dependability. That's what I'm talking about. If we're talking about consistency, that's what he leads in on
Uh,
ESPN fantasy.
I would still lean more towards Josh Allen when it comes to consistency, and we know who's gonna show up with Josh Allen. I just feel like with Lamar, because of the way that they don't finish games, I'm not exactly sure if
But if
he's
we're talking about finishing games, then that's different. If we're just talking about consistency, like because winning Super Bowl, like I
I
mean,
get that. I mean, but neither one of them have
being
won Super
being
Bowls.
in playoff contention. I mean, Josh is well, I guess either of them have the potential to do it. But I'm just saying, like when we're talking about consistently winning games, that's different to me than just being consistent.
So even Ellis is saying that Lamar has been consistent in fantasy. Y'all, when I like because I've commissioned leagues for the last lot of years, and I purposely won't draft Lamar Jackson because his points are up and down depending on the game. I don't have to worry about that if I draft somebody like a Josh Allen because you know who's going to show up. With Lamar Jackson, you don't know if he's going to run the ball because even with Derrick Henry, there's times this season he's had more rushing yards than Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if he's going to pass the ball. I'm in Yahoo too, but I'm all of my leagues are half PPR, so I don't know if those are PPR leagues or whatever the case is, or if they're dynasty leagues. I don't know, but in my half PPR league, I can't trust him. I never draft Dak. The players in my league talk about me never drafting Dak because Dak is not a consistent fantasy quarterback. So I'm not doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I see what you're saying. I just don't think he's as consistent as other quarterbacks, but I feel you. We have one more, and I'm just curious to see who you're gonna say. It's the Drama King Award. I know who my Drama King Award goes to.
I mean, I don't know if it's a drama king or whatever you want to call it, but the person to me who was the biggest drama magnet so far is freaking Jalen Carter.
Oh, well, he definitely, yeah, he did that to himself. He
Exactly.
did that to
I
himself.
mean, when I think about the biggest moment so far that caused a lot of drama is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, your boy in Philly. Well, when we talk about Drama King, we're talking about headlines, right?
Yeah.
People who attract media headlines. And so I could definitely get on board with the Jalen Carter, but I would say Michael Parsons, and a close second, Jerry Jones.
Nah. I
Um,
mean, Jerry Jones first to me, to be honest.
well,
I mean,
yes,
we're talking that because that's just
right,
him
right.
forever. It's been him since he came to the team.
Right, right. But the thing about the Micah Parsons thing is that Micah is going to be in the midst of media, and he's going to say some stuff to bring some controversy and to make people write crazy headlines. And it's going, regardless of what happens for the rest of Micah's career, Micah will always have this Dallas Cowboy situation in the back of his head going on, and people will never let him forget that he was a former Dallas Cowboy, period.
Yeah.
So I just think the drama with Micah and Jerry, and Jerry not wanting to give Micah a tribute video, and it was a lot of hoopla. It was a lot of media frenzy around Michael Parsons coming back to Dallas, and that's who my drama king is. Um, so with all of that being said, there's one last thing that I want to address, and I see you, Ellis, with the AJ Brown, who now that's gonna be interesting to see what happens with AJ Brown. Again, I want to talk about Jalen Hurts next week. Okay, we have to talk about Jalen Hurts next week. But here's the deal: did the daggone Cleveland Browns just announce that they're starting Dylan Gabriel over Shador Sanders? Well, I
They,
be.
they did.
And what's your take on that? Because well, first of all, did you see Shador's reaction in the locker room when the reporters were asking him and he did the mime?
I didn't see that, but what I did see is during the game, um, just his face and his body language in it, because he's usually smiling and upbeat, and he just really wasn't. I mean, and I mean, at this point, they're freaking 1-3. Joe Flacco just is Flacco. Like your
Yeah.
name sounds like you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And
Leave that man alone.
and then yeah, you put and I mean they had interviewed Shador, I guess maybe a week ago, and he was kind of laughing. He was like, "Y'all see the QB play around the league. I know I'm gonna do better than that." You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. It's disappointing, but to be honest, I just feel like, the NFL owners all kind of, they all kind of in their own little world and their own little network. And I don't a let's say Flacco is
Just
wacko.
like, ah, that's hilarious.
Yes. And they're in their own little world. They have their own little world separate from everybody. And I don't think they like Dion.
Right.
I don't think
Yeah.
they like his confidence. I don't think they like his character and the way he's building his kids up. And I mean, and it would be different if they were kids. And I'm not saying it's whatever, but I'm saying they're good kids. You know what I'm saying? They're not like going
Yeah.
out, getting high, going talking crazy. And maybe they are, but we don't see that. The
Yes.
person that we see is give all praises to God. I appreciate the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Dion be like, I already know who I am. I did this. I did, and they don't like
Right.
that. And so I just feel like I don't know what else it could be, because at the end of the day, he's good. I mean, better than Wacko Flacco. I mean, God dang, what do you have to lose at this point? But then you're going to switch it up, make him sit out again. And I wonder, and God has a way of working things out anyway. You never know.
You
Um,
don't.
he sits there, but then you put Dylan Gabriel in, and and we'll see how that works out. But he's good enough to play,
He
in my
is.
opinion. And
Yes.
to just have him there on the sideline, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know what they're meaning or what that is, but I feel it has something to do with his father.
I think so too. It absolutely has something to do with Dion, and that's disappointing that the league as a whole would feel like that, but this has trickled down to the Browns organization. Like Ella said, the Browns org is trash. Like, yes, if this is how you treat your players, and mind you, that it's if if they give Shador the opportunity, I think that's the problem. Like he's going
And you're
to
gonna have to let him
excel.
play.
You're going to have to keep him in there. And if you don't, the Browns fans are going to say something. But we're going to see how Dylan Gabriel does this weekend. And you never know how the game starts and ends. I do hope we see Shador, but not to the demise of Dylan Gabriel. I don't want him to get hurt or anything like that,
Mhm.
but I would prefer to see Shador have that opportunity, because Dylan Gabriel is going to get an opportunity, but they are really, really dragging the Shador Sanders thing out, and it's definitely because of his dad, and that there is not fair, and
Yeah.
that there is the ghetto.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. That's all I have for this week. Next week, we will be talking about. I definitely want to talk about Jalen Hurts and quarterback play. Next week, I didn't even get to tell you guys all of the Dak stats and how Dak is number one in so many different statistics and stuff like that. So next week we will talk about quarterback play. We will compare some quarterbacks, and we will be back in this thing.
We will be back next week, same time, same place. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in and hanging with us. And that's all we got. If no one told you this week that they love you, just know that we love you and appreciate you so much. And we'll see you next week.
Thank
Peace out.
you. Share, like, subscribe to YouTube.